Here.
Burgess.
Here.
Bergman.
Here.
Lear.
Here.
Nickberg.
Here.
There are 5 ayes and 1 vacancy during this one.
All right. So number 2 on the agenda is general public comments. I do not believe I have any of those. So we'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes. Recommendation, approve the minutes from the April 6th and 17th, 2021 Committee of the Whole meetings.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected, presented.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Oh, is this a roll call? No.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4, property issues at 107 West Huron Street. Recommendation, discuss and action as appropriate. Lindsay, are you taking this one?
Yeah.
Debbie Lindsay.
Sorry, it's working. We couldn't get it to work earlier today, so I don't know what Sarah did, but she's got the magic touch.
So you're up and running?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So quick update. Some of you have been on council through 107. Some of you are newer, so I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of a background. But 2016, this process kind of started. We had a complaint about the property. At that time, Jimmy owned the property, and in 2017, it switched to Ramon. That we worked with Ramon. We had a raise order on there initially. Ramon was showing progress, so we did remove the raise order. The end of 2020, Ramon did sell the property to a new property owner, and we met with him right in the beginning of 2021, I'm sorry, beginning of 2021, just telling him, making him aware of our concerns with the property and that there needs to be progress being made. And if it was the winter time, we said just try and make some improvements inside. Right away, when it gets nice out in spring, though, get outside and start working on some of the exterior again. I followed up in April to try and get an update. And I informed him, I said, if no permit is pulled by May, we will be talking about this at council, as we need to see some progress continuing with the property. I have not seen any progress at the property. I talked to the adjacent property owner as well, as sometimes I receive complaints about the noise of the work being done, and I asked her, have you heard any noise of anything? And she has not heard anything. Also, there's been no dumpster for anything being removed that we've seen either. There's no permits put for it. So I have not seen anything. Talking to the adjoining property owner, she has not either. And I'm just concerned if this new property owner really is going to follow through with the improvements that need to be made to it. So that's why I'm bringing it back in front of the council. I have tried making an attempt to work with the property owner. They're not listening to what I'm saying, or the building inspector. My first initial thought was maybe having Attorney Shire get involved a little bit, send that maybe initial letter from the Attorney Shire, and see if that gets any more action than just myself.
Could you refresh our memories? What did Ramon get done? Just the roof?
So when we purchased the property, it was full of all of the junk and debris. He removed all of that. Then there was that back partial roof was collapsing in. He has that back roof fixed, and then he redid the whole main roof as well. So the building is now sealed and pretty, I would say about 90% weatherproof. Part of that back porch area does have to be fixed, so that's what we said was the first step in trying to get that done before the spring. And we haven't seen any progress on that.
We thought we were going to be lucky.
I was hoping.
So the option would be to have the attorney write a letter just saying we're considering action, or would you be going farther than that? Were you looking for more than that?
I think, and typically, and correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Shire, but usually you send a notice and you give, is it 30 days?
Well, the raise order itself is 30 days. If we issue a new raise order, we can give them, that has a 30-day period to raise or repair. But we could do a preliminary step and actually write a letter if you want, which is saying we'll consider a raise order.
With the repairs that have been done previously, is it still at a point where it would need to be raised? It still
It's
is.
still below the 50% value.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what makes it eligible for the raise order.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we would not be able to put that on the property.
Was any interior work done other than cleaning out the junk?
No,
So weren't the floors warped, if I remember correctly, and there was mold?
yeah, they're buckled. All the wood floors are all buckled still. Ceiling, there was a drop ceiling. Those ceiling tiles are all still partially up. And to be honest, there's probably the mold between your second floor and main floor, and then that has been resolved.
So he knew he had until May 1st, otherwise the raise order was going to be filed.
Yep, I gave him a
So he
month.
already had the warning.
I gave him a month to get the building permit, and then I said that building permit would show that you're making progress. No building permit was pulled. I talked with the property owner last week about this, and I got a couple of excuses from him of our city website was not easy to access the building permits. And I said, if that was an issue, why didn't you call ahead of time though, instead of me calling you about this? And then the other excuse was that this spring has not been a nice spring and he hasn't had nice weather to work on it. And I referenced that we had a new home already finished in Voyagers Trail almost this spring, so I don't think that's an excuse.
I think ample time has been given. It's time to move forward.
Anybody,
I don't have a problem with making a motion that we recommend to council to begin the raise and repair order again. That gives him another week to actually make at least reach out. And if he doesn't in that time, we're on track to get this back to where it was. So that would be what I guess I would suggest.
yeah, I'd like to see it move at a steady pace instead of just dragging, which we've seen before.
Even a slow pace, but a
Right.
steady pace.
Steady, yeah, something happening.
You making that motion, Jim?
I can make that my I motion that we make recommendation to council to begin the process of raise and repair on 107 West Huron Street.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any more comment? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. We recommend to council. Item number 5 is, you just handed some discussions that have happened in the past. This is on the no-wake zone, recommendation to discuss an action as appropriate. And I'll start this one out. This one came up because I talked to homeowners along the river, which is past the bridge on, I'm sorry, Franklin. And we do not have any no-wake signs up there. And as the boats go through, they're washing away the shoreline. And it's his house, and then he's estimating about 6 houses are affected by it. I haven't talked to other homeowners yet, but I wanted to bring it up for discussion. The possibility of adding, please no wake signs beyond the bridge. And so the reason Jody put together things that have been talked about in the past on this. This is not a new issue. It's something that's been brought up many times over the years. And so there's some notes we kind of go through in there. But basically, I just wanted to start a discussion on, is that something we should be considering, extending that no-wake zone? And just see what your opinions were on that. Just coming through loud enough?
Not really.
There
There it is now.
That's better. Okay, I apologize.
I just have a question for Matt. He's talking about extending it beyond city property. Now, that would mean placement of signs on private property.
Well, you're talking about making it applicable throughout the city limits?
Correct. So it would carry out beyond, and I don't know the exact distance right now, but it carry out beyond Franklin, around the bend, which would still be within city limits, yes.
Yeah,
What are you talking
I'm saying is, the ordinance can be passed to do anything within the city limits, any portion of the city limits. So you can pass an ordinance that does it, but as you've seen, we've been through a lot of discussion with DNR. And, the issue is it's not so much what you can do as far as legally, as far as the ordinance. It's placing buoys and signage that can become tricky because if you don't own the property on the side of the river where this is, then you probably have to place buoys. And then placing buoys, you gotta get permitted by the DNR, which we'd have to go through that process. You can place signs on the bridge, we talked about that before, but that's one thing, and then the second issue that, as you can see throughout all this, really came down to enforcement, that our guys, and Chief is here, but don't have boats, the ability to actually pursue these people.
Would you like a vote?
Difficult. And on the other hand, the county does have their ordinance in place. It's only applicable with certain water levels and things like that, but they, I believe, do have boats and they can enforce. And they're set up, they made that decision to do this. And they are applicable in the city when it's applicable based on water levels, but, that was my understanding and I think we also at one point, there was a decision to put signs on the bridge that said advisory only. I mean, it didn't say advisory, it said please, no wake.
Correct.
And stuff like that. I don't know, are those on the bridge or do we do that?
The signs that I've ever seen are at either end of Riverside Park.
Riverside Park.
Oh, okay.
They were
So they're-
downtime.
Yeah. So I mean, we can put advisory signs up. Again, not buoys require permits. The signs, as long as they don't indicate
The signs.
actual binding enforcement, you can do it. But
Was there ever any signs up there, Scott? Because according to an email from Brian Freimark, he ordered them in 2014, or supposedly.
The only signs that I'm aware of that we ever had were on Spores Bridge which has long since been removed since the new bridge was put up. And the two that Josh referenced in Riverside Park, I don't believe there was anything ever on the other two bridges, to the best of my knowledge.
To where?
I don't believe there was any signage on any of the other two bridges that go through town, to the best of my
So you mean
knowledge.
the Huron Street Bridge and the Franklin
Franklin
Street
Street.
Bridge did not have signs?
Not that I'm aware of. I might be wrong, but
Matt, I've got a question for you. You talked about private property. Could we ask permission to put up a post on private property? Or,
it would be, well, I mean, yeah, it would not, I don't know, I suppose it is possible, but, we'd probably have to there'd probably be some liability concern, I mean, there's a lot of complications, but yeah, I suppose it's possible,
okay.
yeah.
Like I said, I just want to
It's not
discuss
the
it.
city's responsibility to be worrying about people's private property.
Okay. Yep, go ahead, Jim.
Everything Matt said, we went over in the past, and none of the complicated issues that arose then have changed now, other than the fact that the county has seen fit to stick their nose into it. And as long as it's their ordinance and their responsibilities, why do we have to do anything?
Right.
That's my question.
Okay. Any other opinions?
The signs are a suggestion.
Correct.
I mean, we can definitely put up more signs, but as far as coming up with an actual ordinance, it goes back to enforcement.
And I understand the ordinance part. I was looking more for, like you said, additional signs
Yeah,
to be
just to
posted.
keep it on people's
Yeah.
minds. I think that's a great idea, because, preserving our shoreline, even for any of our citizens, is very important. In the park, there's rock and seawall, so I think it's pretty well set there, but that's almost the only place it is, except for downtown, where there's some more cement.
Right.
Seawall.
Well, and I mean, there's repairs no matter where you live. There's some sort, and living on the river, I think you assume some sort of responsibility
And
too.
there are grants available to people to support their shoreline with riprap, and there's proper ways to do it, and they do get a tremendous break. It's still expensive, but it can be done. It's just like putting a roof on your house. You live on the river, it's part of maintenance as far as I see it.
Jody, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to point out that
if you look at what I put together here under the September 10th, 2013 Common Council minutes, we had a DNR wording here, and you can see that he said at that time that the current sign that was in Forest Branch was a regulatory sign, and he said it needed to be removed, or else an ordinance needs to be put in place. So there was a sign there, but we were ordered to take it down.
Was that one of the please no wake, or was that saying no wake?
I honestly don't remember. It was
No, that was
probably
a-
no wake.
That was not a please.
Was it no
No
wake?
wake, yeah.
So that's why it needed to be regulatory.
Right, that's right.
So
Yeah.
There was advisory signs up there at one time. And as you indicated, it probably got thrown away with the old bridge, at least the one.
is that a very large expense to put a sign up? Or is it a minimal?
I guess I'd have to find out how big the signs need to be.
If they're not gonna be anything that can be regulated, I suppose we can make them any size we want.
Okay.
They could be probably $60 to $80 a piece, but I'd wanna be careful on how they're mounted if that's what your intentions
Do
are.
you have to
Yeah.
worry about the county on that bridge because they own half of it, or what, or
Well, we could put them on our half.
do we own, don't we own the half that people would see going out of town versus going in? Don't we,
There was some issue with that.
which, do we own a half, or do we?
I think we're more like a two-thirds, they're more like a third.
Oh, I thought we owned the, west side and they own the east. No?
No,
It's not the way it is?
No.
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
All right,
North
then
and
we
south.
could put it on both sides of the bridge on our side.
sure.
Okay, okay.
We didn't even have objection to that, so, not an ordinance, but
I
A
think
request.
we need to check with the DNR to find out whether or not we can even do that. Because since 2008 and 2013, I'm sure the rules have changed. And we're gonna spend money to put up signs, and then DNR is gonna come along and say, those are not allowable, take them down. So let's check with everybody before you get your panties in a bunch.
go, Jim.
Why don't we just request Green Lake County to put up some signs? It's their ordinance.
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Only at certain water heights.
Yeah, that's only
Guys would have to
13 feet.
say
Let
at
them
certain.
describe it in their signs. They're the ones that have to enforce this. That was, along with putting buoys in spring and fall and the nightmare that would be for public works, the enforcement was a big issue then, and it still is now. But since it's their ordinance, let them enforce it, let them signage it, let them take the lead on it.
I'm with you on that.
So as far as the county's ordinance that they have, that's more for high water events?
High water,
So when that happens, we put up notices on all the boat launches. So I'm not sure what extra signage you would want on the river itself. That's gonna be something that's gonna be removed every time the water levels go down to a reasonable level?
That's posted on the county website when it does take place. It's a boater's responsibility to know the laws.
Exactly, but if you're suggesting putting no wake signs up on the river, obviously they gotta come back down after.
Yeah, I mean, it's posted on their website. I don't, like Jim said.
This ordinance does not read anything about level of water.
13 feet is the high water. Yeah.
It says recreate chapter 266 watercraft of the Green Lake County Code of Ordinances to regulate watercraft operating on any and all navigable water line in Green Lake County.
(266-16), Bobby. Or what did you say?
There's 6.
-6, I'm sorry.
High water, slow no.
Yeah, under B.
Okay, I see it.
So what I'm gathering here is no one's interested in carrying this farther for the council's position?
I don't.
I'm in no,
No.
I have no interest in pursuing an ordinance, no.
Okay.
I don't either.
All right, seeing that, just unless anyone else has other comments, we'll close discussion on that one then. All right, then item number 6 is the CDBG-CD Microenterprise Business Grants. The recommend the common council to approve the CDBG-CD Microenterprise Business Grant application process and application form as presented.
So last month, we accepted the grant award, and this past month, I had some training on what we were needing to require our businesses for, so that is what I put together. So there was an overview, which kind of just gives a background of the program, the process, eligible applicants, activities, and then there was an actual application included. So I would need approval from the council of the overview of the program and the application before we obviously publish it and get it out to our businesses. So several of these items are just requirements of the federal government, so not much control we have from the city perspective, but it is what it is, and it's some grant money that we can help out our businesses. So I guess, if you have any questions or you want to walk through it a little more.
Well, there seems to be some problems here. You have an Appendix B that's for Waushara County and an Appendix C for Waushara County. And then you have an Appendix B for Green Lake County and an Appendix B for, a C for Green Lake County.
Yep.
There's no difference.
Well, the difference is that it's two different counties.
Countywide.
Yeah, and then
but you've got
B and C, the difference is one is for the business owner to fill out. B is the business owner, C is for the employee. So if you look on the top of B, it says micro enterprise owner self-certification. C says micro enterprise employee self-certification.
See that.
So it is the same exact form, and these are from the state. But that's the only difference, is one is for the owner, and so that's the easiest option, is if the owner can qualify. If the owner can't qualify, then we can look at their employees and qualify that way. So I put both of them in there. I'm hoping we only have to use the owner self-certification, but we may have to go to employees.
Okay, the second problem is, in the instructions, it says, please answer questions 1, 2, and 3. The questions are 70, 71, and 72, or 208, 209, 210. There is no questions 1, 2, and 3. So you have to change either the numbering of the questions or the numbering of the instructions.
Where do you see this?
So under your instructions, in your second paragraph, it says, please answer questions 1, 2, and 3. But the questions are number 70, please indicate your current family income. 71, please check the boxes that identify your race. And 72 is, please answer these questions.
They're just not numbered correctly.
There is no questions 1, 2, and 3.
No, I don't know what you're even looking at.
Lindsay, is this just a state form?
Yeah.
That you just printed off and put the county?
So they're
in?
just, she's
Oh,
saying
we
they're not
got the
numbered.
appendix.
Yeah, yeah, the appendix.
Okay, thank you.
The 1, 2, and 3, is that,
I was looking on the overview pages.
Okay, so, okay, let me get there. Go back to, okay, what were you asking? Oh, so numbering?
is the 1, 2, and 3, is that from the appendix, right?
Instructions.
Those were straight from the state website. So it was just for Green Lake, Waushara County. I can renumber it 1, 2, 3 and get that corrected. That was confusing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, these, so what it is they have a Word document for every county in the state. And so maybe that's where the numbering maybe automatically was done through the Word document. And we just
Yeah, but if we're going to publish these, let's at least correct them so
yeah,
people can
that's not a
understand them.
problem.
And there's one typo.
Where are you looking?
Where did I find it now?
question while she's looking for that.
Under process, under overview,
Yes.
the back page. Grant will be mailed to the business with 3 days. It should be within.
Thank you, Bobby.
And then, there's one other one. Where did I? You know, the proofreader in me is
Yes.
working here.
Thank you.
There's one other one.
I got it.
Maybe. Oh, the back side of the documentation of other assistance received.
Appendix A. Okay.
The applicant statement, you just need a space between, the information required to.
Okay. I will send this back to the state that they have an error, because this was another
Okay, from there. I do have a question, Lindsay. So we're sharing in Green Lake counties for the employees. Does that mean only if the employees are in Green Lake or Anishinaabe County?
Nope, it is actually based on where the business is located.
Okay.
So where the, it's not where they're living, it's where the business is
Business.
located.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
This is exciting. I hope that we have people that can apply for this.
Yes, looking at the calls, we are actually the only local municipality that received the grant. Several other grants were to actually counties. So, it was something unique for our municipality to receive.
Good. Any other comments?
Thanks to Ms. Kempnitz
Yes.
and Jody,
Yes.
probably.
Yes. Jody's doing all the fun part of it.
If no other comments, I take a recommendation.
I will make a recommendation to Common Council, I'll make a motion to recommend to Common Council to approve this, micro enterprise business grant application process and the application form as presented with corrections.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll recommend to council. Oh, we don't have any new business or old business on here. All right. So in that case, you take a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned.